1 minute over our schedule. So as you would know, we're going to be recording this session. We'll try to finish in about 60 to 65 minutes. And post we record the session, we'll record the interview. We're going to be disseminating on different channels. I will be making small 5-minute, 4-minute videos and sending it out on different channels for people to watch it. Cool. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you very much. Good. Morning to both of you, Hayden and Zach. It's primarily in the business or
is he going out for you?
Yeah, I'm getting some choppy feedback.
I'm gonna try to chat him.
Did he just drop?
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah. So how many years have you been doing public rec?
5 years.
When we're in our 4th year of business, so but yeah, when I got this first invite to this, I didn't recognize anyone, and then I saw like at public rec and I was like, oh, this must be legit. So that's kind of was my like deciding factor on like why I popped in, because like I didn't recognize, and like the names were kind of weird.
Yeah.
What is this?
I don't know.
I guess I'll public rec's getting on.
Yeah, I don't know. I had noticed, I think Cuts had done it last year, who I know. So I was like, maybe this is worthwhile.
In Chicago too?
What's that?
Or is Cuts in Chicago, or do you just
know they're out of Florida.
Have you what do you do before public rec?
I worked in finance for a private equity firm. How about you?
I actually worked for the Air Force. I was doing government contracting. Yeah, I only did that for like 3 years, and I did it through my graduate program. And then once I was done with that, I basically jumped ship and went all in HydroJug. So.
Nice. How's it going?
Good. I think it's kind of crazy because I think most e-commerce shops have kind of the same story. Everyone's like freaked out, like what the heck is going on, and trying to like keep up with demand and everything. So, I mean, we were growing last year, but now this year's just crazy. So, what about with you guys? Everything good with COVID?
Yeah, it's been okay. In the beginning, it was really tough. It's gotten better. I think we're being hurt from people just buying less apparel, but helped by people who are buying apparel that our clothes are still relevant. So we kind of have those two forces fighting against each other. And like for most of COVID, it's felt like the force of people who aren't buying clothes is having a bigger effect on the business.
What about like supply chain? Was supply chain crazy for you guys for a while?
That's been okay.
You guys not
relatively unaffected, so we've been fortunate there.
It was definitely a piece of the business that we kind of weren't. I mean, I was still handling most of it, but then I was also like heavily in marketing. So like all my attention was going to like front end stuff, and then we really got exposed on the back end. And like now we hired. I was just like, we need someone like full time to take care of this kind of stuff. So how many employees are you guys at?
There's 12 of us.
Nice.
How about
Do you
you
guys? So we do all of our fulfillment in house. So like we have a warehouse crew and everything. If I count those guys, and I have a few part-time people too, but like just full-time, we're right around that, like probably 10 or 11 mark. And then with all the part-timers and warehouse guys, we're close to 20. So
Nice.
are you guys using a 3PO?
Yeah.
Do you think that, do you have good experiences like with that, or?
In the beginning, it was really, really tough, and it's gotten better. We work with Quiet Logistics, and they've been good for us the last year or so. The first few years, that was the hardest part of the business for me, was like the fulfillment centers were awful.
Yeah, it seems like setup would just be like such a pain. Like it's really intimidating for me. Like we always just did it in house, and I was like, man, I don't really want to deal with this now, because in house is a pain in the butt too. So
Yeah.
But so did you have like experience in clothing? Because I mean, your guys' clothes are awesome. Like the design of them, and like coming up with like material and stuff. Like, because I mean, I would think like that would take like some experience in clothing, or did you just have an interest in it and like became an expert?
I just had an interest in it. Yeah, I didn't have experience in it. It took me a long time to figure out. I worked on it like 18 months part-time in my previous job before I actually left, and just started with a pair of pants. And so did a ton of research, and then ended up, after I made the first product, I reached out to a designer, and then she's worked with us for the last almost 5 years.
Yeah, man. I'll have to connect with you on LinkedIn, because like I'm super interested. We can
For sure.
keep in touch, because yeah, I mean, I'm trying to grow my network too. I really like there's a company called Freshly Picked that's in Utah, and they do like baby shoes. They were on Shark Tank, but the CEO of it, she would do like a monthly like brunch or something. They'd get together with like non-competing CEOs and just kind of chat about like what's going on, kind of some of the stuff they do to overcome like the problems, new software, stuff like that. So I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Something to do.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But see, back in, I saw someone jump in. I don't know.
Yeah, he's here.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
You're just taking over the webinar.
You guys were having great conversations, so I thought I'll not interrupt. Thank you so much, guys, for coming over. I think my internet was a little shaky. I hope I'm audible now.
Yes.
Yep. All right. Guys, thank you so much for coming over this morning. Let me introduce Zach first. Zach is in the apparel and fashion business. He's the founder and CEO of Public Rec. He has been in this company for over 5.5 years, and they make apparel for men. I think we all know that. And the vision is to empower everyone to focus on what they are doing, and not what they are wearing. He resides in Chicago, and prior to this venture, he also has worked in JP Morgan, and he holds a Bachelor in Arts and Economics from University of Michigan. That's Zach for you. Thank you so much, Jack, for coming over this morning. Looking forward to
Thank
your
you for having me.
Thank you. Hayden is the guy who keeps us hydrated. He has invented these fabulous jugs which can contain over a gallon and a half of water and can keep you hydrated for a long time. The jugs comes in various colors and they're BPO free. And the mantra for success for Hayden is simple. He says success comes from habits and discipline. You got to have good habits in your life in order to taste success. He said we control who we are and what we do, and our success is depends only and only on us. And he resides in Ottawa, and he's an MBA from South Ottawa University and bachelor's in accounting from Weber State University. He's the CEO of HydroJug. Thank you so much, both of you guys. Thank you very much for coming over. My first question to Hayden. Hayden, how has been the business over the last 7 months?
Overall, our business, I would say, has been good. We've had both effects of COVID, we've seen an increase in demand due to an increase in online shopping. And then we've also been hurt kind of on the back end as far as like supply chain goes. With all of our manufacturing in Asia, a lot of the manufacturers were closed for Chinese New Year, which puts everything out for about a month. And then the COVID happened and that put us out for an additional 2 months. And then the factories gradually opened and they couldn't even get to full capacity for probably another month and a half. So everything supply-wise really hurt us. We still saw a constant growth rate when compared to last year. So overall, that's why I say it's been good for us. And we have since been able to recover from that supply chain issue. So I think everything is looking good coming into the holiday season.
Mm-hmm. So do you have, so would you advise having multiple vendors, multiple contract manufacturers, or do you have just one or two?
Several vendors, however, they all are in China. So that's kind of the difficulty there, but we have learned our lesson and we are looking into manufacturing in different countries that aren't affected just to hedge that risk a little bit more so we don't run into those kinds of issues. So, and just how we spoke on tariffs a little bit as well. So with the way that is going, we've looked into manufacturing in places like Mexico and also in the United States. So.
What are the advantages of manufacturing in the US?
There's a lot of logistical advantages. When you cut lead times, you cut the amount you have to store at once. So like you got facilities cost, all of the supplies and equipment it takes to store that amount of material. I mean, there's huge cost savings there. So although your unit price will go up, there's savings as well. So we have done that analysis, and it's difficult to compete with other countries, but there definitely are pros and cons. So
okay, and
the main ones are definitely logistics.
Yes. What platform do you use to sell online? Shopify. All right. Excellent. Thank you so much for the initial introduction and for answering the initial questions. Zach, from JP Morgan to apparel business for men, what's your why? Why are you doing what you're doing?
Me personally, I always had an interest in starting a company. That was just something I was kind of, as I was growing up, I kind of always knew I wanted to start a company. And I went through a few different ideas. This one in particular kind of always stuck with me. I always had a strong opinion on clothing, and could quickly walk into a store and pick out what I liked. And so felt like I had a viewpoint on clothing. And yeah, I got comfortable with the idea of giving it a shot. After JP Morgan, before starting this, I worked somewhere else in finance, and that really helped me understand the place I was working at. We were investing in healthcare companies, and the way we would learn the industry in terms of like me not having any background in healthcare, but trying to learn, what companies should we be investing in healthcare. That helped me transfer a lot of the processes into, how do I learn how to make clothing? How do I source fabric? How do I find factories? And so a lot of that helped set me up for, how to do something that I wasn't doing previously.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So you said one very important thing on the profile, that your vision is to empower everyone to focus on what they are doing and not what they are wearing. So is it contrasting with what you're doing? For example, you are, of course, focusing a lot on clothing and making sure that men look smarter than they ever before. And you're also saying that you also want to empower everyone to focus on what they're doing and not what they're wearing. Can you explain this statement?
Yeah, I think you grabbed that from our About on the website. That was around just allowing people, like having clothes that are versatile and, you know, look nice, but are still super comfortable, so that, you know, whatever you decide to wear for the morning still works in the afternoon, still works after work, kind of no matter what environment you're going to be in, whether you're going to an office, you're going to the gym, you know, you're going to grab drinks after work. Depending on whatever apparel you've chosen from our side, hopefully it transfers. And the idea of, like, you know, you're going to be comfortable, you're going to look good in our stuff. It doesn't matter, like, as long as you are wearing something from Public Rec, you can focus on other things and not have to worry about, you know, is your clothing appropriate for whatever environment you're in.
Interesting. All right, cool. And how, so you're on what platform? I'm guessing you also have offline stores and online presence. What's your sales distribution, online versus offline?
95% of our sales are through our website. We had opened our first store last year, ended up closing it due to COVID. It was working though, and it's probably something we'll reassess next year, hopefully. And then we have a couple wholesale partnerships with Stitch Fix and Nordstrom. But other than that, the business is direct to consumer through our website.
What platform do you use?
Shopify.
Did you evaluate other platforms apart from Shopify?
In the beginning, when I started, I was looking at Shopify versus Squarespace. At the time, I think they were closer in terms of capabilities. Now I think Shopify is, you know, the clear winner in terms of a direct-to-consumer e-commerce brand, and so I'm happy that I chose it. And since kind of joining Shopify, I haven't considered moving platforms.
Mm-hmm. Are you funded?
I raised a convertible note 2 years in from people I used to work for, and since then we've been profitable. We have a loan from a bank, so we've been fortunate that we haven't had to raise additional funding since that initial seed round, I guess you'd call it.
Mm-hmm. So what's your vision for the company next 3 years?
We're launching women's in a couple months, so we're excited about that. It's something we've been working on for a couple of years. We're hopeful we have a different perspective in terms of how we're doing the product and how we're going to communicate with the women. So we'll see how that goes. So, you know, hopefully we're able to grow that business like we have the men's, and hopefully we're continuing to grow men's. Hopefully in 3 years, you know, I envision us having stores, and, you know, hopefully in 3 years we've got a decent amount of storefront. And then, yeah, just continuing to grow the team. And, you know, it feels like we still have a long way to go in terms of people knowing who we are and brand recognition and all of that. So we've been fortunate the company's grown quickly over the last 5 years, but I think there's still a long way for us to go.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Thank you so much, Zach. Hayden, how did you choose this business? And how many SKUs do you have?
So question, when I was working my full-time job, there was always that kind of drive to start my own business. And I was always interested in fitness. So I was involved in the industry on social, and just kind of followed other companies that I enjoyed their brands. And one of the brands that I used a lot was Blender Bottle, but I just saw a hole in the market that I was like, this is kind of weird that there's not a high quality jug on the market. So like when I was at my full-time job, I was constantly like going to the water fountain to refill my water bottle. And so yeah, it kind of just took off from that idea. And then once I got prototypes, I mean, I started using it, and my wife used it like crazy. And I was like, man, this is really something that I find useful. So it kind of just took off from there. Me and my brother started it, so we're actually co-founders on the company, and it's been great. It's been great to have family in the business. We're both super passionate about what we're doing, and we think that it is. We've seen on social and from the feedback we've received that it really has impacted people's lives and helps them meet their goals. So it just drives that passion, and that's kind of what got me into the business. What was seeing a need. It was an industry that I was interested in, and then we found out relatively quickly that we could help people. So I think, and then there's also the side benefits of it as well, the impact on the environment of reducing single-use water bottles. And yeah, so it has been an interest and something also that I can be passionate about. So I'd say those were the two main driving factors.
Do you have a jug around you?
Yeah, I do. So this is actually the stainless steel bottle that we have coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So we've been working on that for a while, and since I've been using the prototype, I'm having a hard time switch back to the plastic. This one is the cool piece about this one is it's the inside is finished. I guess the interior of that, the outside of the interior piece of the stainless jug is finished in copper. So copper is like a really conducive material. So like if you put hot water in it and then dump it and put your hand in there, that whole inside is like super hot. And same thing with cold. So yeah, we're really excited with where that's going, and that's a project we haven't really talked about, and we're hoping to have some a big impact with the stainless steel bottle that we've been working on.
So how many SKUs do you have?
I guess it depends on how you count them, because our main product is just the jug, but then we have a ton of colors in that jug, and then we have the accessories we sell. But if you count all the colors, which we do, we have all those as separate SKUs. We're close to 90.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Are you guys funded or self funded?
Completely self-funded. We do have a loan from the bank, but other than that, completely self-funded.
Mm-hmm. So what's your vision for the company for the next 3 years, Hayden?
I'd say similar to Zach, we want to keep growing. Everyone here, all of our employees share similar values. We're all very interested in personal growth as well as developing ourselves career-wise. So we're constantly coming out with better versions of the product. We've improved on our plastic bottle probably five different times, and we're super interested in continuously innovating and making better processes, better products, and overall just making it a company that's better for the customers that we serve. So I think that is our main focus, is continually improving upon ourselves.
Thank you so much, Hayden. Thank you very much for sharing your insights. Zach, a lot of people today are trying to come into e-commerce business and trying to refrain from selling things online. They want to trying to refrain from selling things offline, and they want to come and sell online. What advice would you give to people who want to start an e-commerce business now?
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of just starting online. If the question is, do you consider offline too? We're mainly online, and we were, only online for the first few years of the business. I think something that resonates with me is that everything always takes longer than you anticipate and costs more than you anticipate. And that's something, even going into it, I had been told that, and I had this background in finance where I thought, okay, I'll just, budget what I think and then add on 20% of time and money. And then it's still, you're never really, you don't know what you don't know. And so that's just something I've become aware of, is that, yeah, things usually end up taking longer and costing more than you anticipate. And then the other thing I would say is I like the idea of starting with, a one product and having it be your hero product and kind of having it stand for, who you are as a company before you expand too quickly into a bunch of other SKUs or types of products. I think, you know, you gain the customer's trust by getting one product right and having them like that product. And, you know, the market is massive online, where it's like you can get pretty big with just one product. And then after that, you can think about, okay, here's the second product that might make sense for us as a business. But I think if you get a niche product and it's doing well, there's a lot of opportunity there before you have to think about doing product number 2.
Excellent, wonderful. I think that's something which Hayden also completely agrees and is following it to the T. He started his business with just one product and expanding it to other products now, and that's what you are also confirming. And now after 5-6 years, you are now launching a women's clothing line after you have made a mark in the men's section. Excellent piece of advice. Thank you so much, Zach, for that. Hayden, do you also sell offline, or are you also D2C?
We're probably similar to Zach in that piece where we are primarily online. We do sell to some retailers that have storefronts here in Utah and some smaller supplement boutiques across the United States. But definitely that is not our primary focus. We're pretty focused on handling our D2C brand and channel first. And then as we have more bandwidth and as we can support more demand, we have brought in some retail partners. So, but yeah, definitely the D2C is our focus.
Mm-hmm. So you use Shopify, Hayden, and which are your Shopify apps which are favorite to you?
Definitely, I would say Klaviyo, which we use for email, and then Postscript, which we use for SMS marketing, and we use 2 Yotpo apps for reviews and loyalty. So I would say those are my top.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Hayden, do you know which customers will never come back and shop from you again? Which customers you're losing online?
Like a segment, or do I just know in general, like can we track it?
Yeah, so do you have a segment where you know these customers are never going to come back? These customers are my VIP customers. These are my potential loyal customers. How do you do customer segmentations?
Our VIP segment, which is defined on like spend, repeat purchase frequency, how they engage on emails and that piece. I don't think that we have defined like a one-time shopper. So and our product is a little bit, as far as like repeat business, like how many jugs can a person have? We have seen people buy multiple of them, but our big repeat piece is our sleeves and now the supplement / flavoring that we just released. So that's actually a tough question. I don't think that we have that segment broke out or defined exactly like what constitutes someone not returning. But we do focus heavily on how we can keep people engaged, how we can keep people coming back. So whether it's through positive customer experiences on support, we offer live chat, we offer text message support, we offer the typical email support, and we've expanded our product lines to make sure that there is a reason for people to come back and repeat buy with us. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Excellent, wonderful. How do you bring people? For example, jugs is something I might not have 5 jugs on my table. So how do you bring people back on your store for an article which might not get destroyed or damaged easily? It's not like a clothing line which you can have 20 pairs of shirts or shoes or trousers. So how do you bring people back on your store to shop, to make them shop more?
I mentioned before, we've actually got a lot of inspiration from clothing brands that are primary e-commerce, where they are coming out with like different patterns, different styles, and we came out with our sleeve, our insulating sleeve, which a lot of people with how stainless steel bottles are going constantly ask, hey, is this insulated? And we can say no, but if you buy this accessory, it can be. And then as far as making cool prints and patterns and almost looking at that product line like clothing, how can we make this exciting for customers? Having limited releases, doing brand collaborations, doing athlete collaborations are things that we've focused on to make our accessory, which is the insulating sleeve, more exciting and almost like a clothing company that has a hyped up t-shirt release on a Saturday morning that sells out in an hour. So we've tried to mimic that strategy that a lot of clothing brands have on our sleeve, which has increased our repeat customer rate. And then we also came out with the new supplement and flavoring because we just had feedback and we've seen a lot of people infusing their water with fruits. So we came out with like a hint of lemon flavor that tastes like infused lemon water. And this is something that they can subscribe to. So we're hoping to increase our repeat customer rate even more by saying, if drinking water is boring for you, if you're used to drinking soda or other flavored beverages, here's this, like add this to your water and make it a little more enjoyable. So we're constantly thinking about that because that was an initial issue. Like, how do we get people to come back? Because we spend so much money to acquire these customers. We definitely don't want them to be one buy and done. So
interesting, very interesting. So Hayden is saying that you got to constantly innovate, be a category king first, and then think how you can add value to your customers. Keep inventing accessories like sleeve or a water flavor, so that you keep bringing your customers back on your store to make them shop more. Thank you so much for that, Hayden. Thank you very much. Nice tip. We all can use it, especially in these times. Zach, how do you do your customer segmentations and product segmentations?
Yeah, we have a VIP list based on how many times you've purchased or how much you've spent. We have just started recently over the last few months segmenting between a men's and a women's audience, and then an audience that's interested in both. And that's kind of something we've been learning and researching in terms of how do we communicate with a new female customer, and what emails should they receive, and how do we continue to cater to our male customer. And then other than that, we haven't done a ton of segmentation within our email list or our customer base. We look at it from time to time. We have a pretty healthy email list, and so we haven't felt the need to really segment, by how often people open their emails, sending more emails to, based on how active they are as an email opener. And then, like, as far as customer segment, I mean, within our marketing channels, we're looking at, new acquisition customers, and then remarketing and retention, and, what ads are they being served, and how often are they being served ads. And yeah, those are probably the main ways we segment.
Interesting. At this point, I want to show you how we are going about segmenting customers for our Shopify customers. So for Shopify customers, we have this Shopify app, and we have this segmentation grid here. The segmentation grid is between recency and frequency. So if your customer has a recency of 5, that means he came very recently. And if your recency is 1, he came long back, 200 days back, 300 days back. If his frequency is 5, that means he's shopping a lot more. So these are your VIP customers, and these are the customers you're about to lose. So because the recency is low, that means these guys have not been coming to the store for 200 days or so. For 158 days, these people are not coming back. Their average order value is this much, and we can know what's their email engagement time and seasonality. When do they buy? What do they buy? And who are these people basically? So for our Shopify clients in the US, we are doing the segmentation in this way and help them identify which customer they're losing and how we can stop them. So the email marketing part bit is also there in the tool by which you can email a person's email and you can bring them back to your store. Coming back to Hayden. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. So Hayden, you've been working with your brother. So is the brother younger to you or elder to you?
And the one right after me is my partner, and then the other one, he runs our warehouse operations. So we actually all three work together. But
Okay. Do you advise working with family?
it completely depends. Like I mean, I wouldn't go out and say, hey, you should 100% work with your family. But in my situation, like all three of us brothers, we grew up really close. And I feel like I'm a lot more comfortable discussing potential business problems with my brother than I would with just a business partner or a friend. I can be a lot more direct. I can be a lot more upfront. We communicate really well. And we just had an agreement up front, like, hey, you know what, we're not going to let X and X come between us. If we face these situations, this is how we'll handle them. So we do have kind of ground rules set, and our roles are very clear. And for the 3 years that we've been in business, I mean, we haven't had any huge issues. So for me in my situation, I feel like it has worked well. But yeah, it's definitely something you just have to evaluate on a case-by-case basis, because you could have that type of relationship with a buddy where you can talk to them like a brother and communicate with them like a brother, and I think that would be fine. But yeah, so that's kind of my take on it.
Excellent, wonderful. So yes, so Hayden is saying you can work with your family, brothers or sisters, depending upon what equation do you have with them. You can make the ground rules on day one. This is what we're going to be fighting on. This is what we're going to be not fighting on. These topics will come in our discussion, and these topics will not come in our discussion. If you put the ground rules up in front, you can work with your family. I think that's the best way you can go about any business. Thank you so much for that, Hayden. Hayden, tell us about your experience on Shopify.
We love Shopify. Everything. So kind of what Zach mentioned, we actually started on Squarespace because when we started, they were very similar. But Shopify just took off by building the tools that were built tools that really can make you successful in e-commerce. And everything from they have a program called like the Merchant Acceleration that teaches you all of the pieces how to build an e-commerce business. And then they also, because of their relevancy and how big they are, they have a ton of developers that are building apps that can make your job so much easier. And like you can, so when I first started the company, it was just me and my brother, and we needed an email marketing strategy. We can just install Klaviyo and put a bunch of things on autopilot that don't take a ton of my time. Now that we've scaled and we've grown, we can now afford to hire someone that knows email marketing and does email marketing and can dive into it. So it's not just autopilot. But I think that's my general feeling towards Shopify. Great customer support, great apps, great tools to help you succeed as an e-commerce business.
Hayden, do you sell on Amazon as well?
We right now with all the, so this year with the supply issues that we had, we just couldn't stock it. All the inventory we could get, we kept in house. We do have plans though. Once we get everything in place, and we're actually moving offices and our warehouse to a new facility. So once we get all set up in there, we get our supply chain figured out. We are planning to expand into Canada and Europe. and then also meet that Amazon demand and have a presence on there. So
Interesting. Zach, do you sell on Amazon as well, or are you only on your site?
We don't. We're only on our site.
Why?
There were a few reasons. We wanted to own the customer journey and have the customers come through us. We were sensitive to not being able to track some of the performance of our ads. If a customer was finding us through a Facebook ad and then Googling and then going to purchase on Amazon. Also, we were wary of, like, do we fulfill for Amazon, or does Amazon fulfill? And if Amazon's fulfilling, what does that experience look like, especially for apparel? We had heard some not great stories on Amazon, not taking care of returns for apparel, which is a tough process, and then having to split inventory if we needed to. In general, we felt like Amazon wasn't a good channel for our brand.
Mm-hmm. So apart from Amazon, is there any other marketplace in the US which focuses on fashion and apparel?
Yeah, but there are a few. The names are escaping me. There's one, not like at Amazon scale.
Yeah,
But
they focus on apparel, but they focus on apparel and fashion, and it's a marketplace.
Marketplace, you mean just selling other brands like Nordstrom?
Yes.
Yeah, we're on Nordstrom's website, so we're available there. The name of one is escaping me that we looked at, but yeah. Other than that, we've mainly been focused on just trying to grow through our website. It has felt like that was the best place for us to focus our resources, that we hadn't really reached a point at which, like, growth felt like we were hindered by only being on our website. So that's really been our focus to date.
Mm-hmm. So do you do ads as well, Zach?
On my company or me personally?
Yeah, your company.
Oh yeah, we do a lot of ads. Yeah, that drives a lot of our business.
What's your ROAS, return on ad spend?
We try to target 2.5 to 3 times, usually 3 times after attribution. Yeah, it kind of depends on the platform and if it's a new customer or not, but kind of blended. Yeah, we're looking to target 2.5 to 3 times, and then we've got repeat customers that take the overall percentage of the company and makes it more favorable for us in terms of our marketing as a percent of revenue. That's really what we look at on a daily basis, is marketing as a percent of revenue.
Mm-hmm. Hayden, what's your return on ad spend, ROAS?
To Zach's, it's actually really surprising because we look at it as a percent of revenue as well, and then kind of work backwards from there. But yeah, we're aiming right at like a 2 to 3.
2 or 3. So if you're spending $100 on Facebook, you expect business of $300. Is that right?
Yep, and everything's kind of revolving. So like if we do have a big month, the next month we have a pretty big ad budget. So we just say, hey, X percent of revenue, that's for our ad, and that's also a very big piece of our revenue. So it is paid advertising.
Mm-hmm. What if I told you that our product, our app for Shopify, can help you get 10x on your ad spend?
Super interested. At 10x, yeah.
Yes, so we have been working with we launched last year. We launched our app on Shopify last year, and we have about 20 customers, 25 customers in the US. They're selling wines, apparel, toys, everything in the US, and we have about 10 customers in India. We primarily focus on segmentation and how we can use segmentation to effectively do our ads and get 10x returns. So I'll get back to you with that. We will perhaps get in touch with you again for a demo next week for a product if you're interested. Zach, Zach, do you also make your ad spend a function of your revenue? Is it some percentage of your revenue?
Yeah, that's how we look at it. Yeah.
A company whose business is, let's say, $100,000 a month, what should be their ad budget?
I mean,
$100,000.
a lot of variables there. You know, what's their gross margin on the product? You know, have they raised money? Where do they want to be in a year or 5 years? You know, do they want to be profitable? Yeah. I would look at it as anywhere from, it really could be anywhere from 15 to 50%. You know, we're seeing a lot of companies that have raised VC funding and are just, you know, only looking at growth at, you know, 50% or above. And then you can be more conservative as, you know, as you're comfortable. We personally have targeted 20 to 30%.
Of the revenue goes into ads. So you are the one who's making Zuckerberg richer than what he already is.
Say it again, sorry.
I'm saying you are the one who's making Zuckerberg richer than what he already is.
Who's that?
Zuckerberg, Mark.
Oh, Zuckerberg. Yes, yeah. We spend a lot on Facebook, although it's all relative, I'm sure.
Yes. So, Hayden, coming back to you, you have your customers. Customers come and go, and fans love you. And between their clients, so clients stay with a little longer. So customers come and go, clients stay with a little longer, and fans love you. How do you make your customers your fans?
That's a good question. I honestly, I think it's through branding. So, and that's a difficult thing because in the start, when your first few years, you're looking at a return on every penny spent. Like you're like, hey, I put X amount into ads. I need this much back. I hire this person. I need revenue from that person. Like everything is dependent on that. But once you can focus more on content and branding and how you present yourself to customers, and then also investing in what I mentioned before into the customer experience, whether that's the packaging, the emails they receive, the programs that you roll out to reward your customers. I think that's the big piece to turning customers into fans. You can do it through the influencer marketing. But yeah, I think all those channels from email, branding, loyalty, influencer is how you really can bring the people that are just interested and turn them into fans. So that's my take on it.
So Hayden is saying that you got to go all out from SEO to content marketing to branding to being an influencer. You got to do everything right to make your customers into your fans. Thank you so much, Hayden, for that. Mark, coming back to you, what's your take on organic marketing versus inorganic marketing? For example, SEO content writing versus ads. If you're spending 25% on ads and SEO, how much time and weightage do you give to if you're spending 25% on ads and Facebook marketing and Google marketing, how much time and effort are you spending on SEO and content writing?
That's for me.
Yes.
We haven't historically spent a lot of time on SEO stuff. It's in the back of our minds. But yeah, it's been a small focus for us. I mean, it's helpful. In the beginning, one of my bigger focuses was trying to get PR and have publications write about us, and get some credibility for the brand, and be able to talk about that on our website. And I think those articles have helped get us started. And when people Google public rec, some of those still come up, so that's helpful. And then we have a few different partners that we work with that have good SEO when they do articles about public rec, so that's all helpful. But in general, more of the focus has been around inorganic marketing, or really Facebook, and putting in $1 and seeing the return, and that's really where we focus a lot of our ad spend and our time.
Okay. Hayden, what's your take on that?
More. I think it's difficult to allocate resources and put in time to things that you don't see that direct return on. Once you do scale out your paid advertising, and you're like, hey, you know what, this is really like what we can put in and stay profitable. That's when I look into expanding into other mediums like SEO and PR, because I think they do have their place. Like Zach said, the credibility piece, and then the Google ranking piece, all of those things do have their place. And I don't think you shouldn't have any presence in them, but I do think there are, especially when you're a startup in your first few years, there are things that you have to prioritize and focus and double down on, that are giving you that. Once that's scaled up or reaches a point where you can afford to invest into those other things like publications and SEO, I think it has its place.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So what Mark and Hayden are saying is that in the beginning you have to evaluate if you're spending $1, whether you're getting a return on it or not. SEO and content marketing will take some time, but then they're important, and you do not, of course, see an immediate return on $1 being spent. But yes, both of you believe that it's important and must be done at certain stage, certain life cycle of the business. Thank you so much for that, Mark and Hayden. Guys, in the last round, I will request, if you want to ask any question to the fellow panelists, please go ahead and shoot. Yes, Hayden, you want to ask the question to Mark?
No, I think you're calling me Mark. My name's Zach.
Sorry. No, I'm saying no. I'm calling.
Oh.
I'm saying Hayden, you wanna Hayden, you wanna ask a question to Zach?
I don't have anything specific. I kind of at the beginning before we started, I got a lot of my questions out, but yeah, I'm glad that we could all connect and take time to kind of learn from each other and hear what we're doing and some of the strategies. It's been helpful.
Thank you so much. Zach, anything from Hayden?
Yeah, I have a bunch of questions, but I don't need to do them on record. I can, yeah, I don't know how comfortable he is sharing stuff. So,
connect on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So I will connect you guys anyways. I'm going to send out an email, and you will have your email addresses. Both of you will have each other's email addresses, and then you can also connect on LinkedIn. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you very much for your time this morning. Really appreciate. Since you have been, since you have given your 1 hour to this session, we are more than happy to give you our Shopify app 45 days for free. Do explore it, and we're more than happy to help you out on how to use it properly so that you can bring out the best out of it. It has 5 stars on Shopify by a lot of our customers. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, guys. Take care of yourself. Have a fantastic week ahead.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.